We do not have a 24-hour sun in the south.
The 24-hour sun in Antarctica doesn't work on a flat Earth.
On a flat Earth, you can't have a 24-hour sun, a midnight sun in Antarctica. And I totally agree.
In the flat Earth model, we say there isn't a 24-hour sun in the south, and there isn't.
There is no midnight sun in Antarctica.
Well, hi everyone, this is Bob the Science Guy. Today we have a live audience. Otis is sitting right behind the computer staring intently at me as I make this video today. The subject of today's video is the claims of Eric Dubay, the Flurf Daddy, on why the final experiment is not valid. So, if Otis will get out of here, let's get going.
The jury is still out as more videos from the final experiment trickle in. But already, there are anomalies and issues surfacing. For example, notice the extreme change in shadow length that takes place as McToon from the final experiment paces around the base camp. In the space of walking no more than 10 to 20 meters, while the sun is still quite high overhead, his shadow somehow triples in length. This is more what would be expected from a large overhead studio light than a heliocentric sun 93 million miles away.
Now, characteristic number one of science denial is cherry picking. The other thing that is very common in the science denial community is the manipulation of evidence to make things look ambiguous. Here's a good example of this. As you can see from the still of the image that Eric Dubay was talking about, and where that upper banner is completely covers the sun, except for where it peeks out right here, just to the right of the Flat Earth Science banner. This is to take away the reference of where the sun is, so that the shadows look like they're exaggerated. Now here is the original image of the 24-hour sun in Antarctica. I want you to pay special attention to the shadows of the tripods and the position of the sun. Notice how even a very small off angle of the sun results in kind of an exaggerated shadow. But as you can see, all of the shadows are directly in line with the actual sun. Notice too that the solar photography, looking for sunspots, tracks the sun very nicely, and you can see that in the foreground. Notice here as the sun is lined up with the left legs of that table in the foreground. If you look at the shadows to the right and the left, even though it's only a couple of feet, you'll see that they deviate off quite a bit. As you go through the live action on this to a frame or two down the road, where the sun is lined up with that tripod on the left, you can see this effect on the table legs as well. This is perfectly normal given the type of lens that they were using, which was a 360-degree camera.
Now, let's assume all the videos of the Antarctic sun filmed by the final experiment crew are all 100% genuine and filmed in the exact location and time claimed. This still makes no difference to Flat Earth. Whether or not they filmed an Antarctic midnight sun, still water remains level. The horizon remains flat, and there remains no measurable curvature. The Earth is still a level plane regardless of any solar observations.
Well, Eric, if it makes you feel better, you just keep telling yourself that. You know, I've often said that all flat earthers are dishonest, if only to themselves, and this is a very good example of that. Because many of us have been in this for quite a few years. We've measured the curvature and the rotation of the Earth. We've calculated hidden heights of buildings. I've personally measured the velocity and altitude of the ISS and the distance to the sun and the moon from my backyard. All you need is a little basic equipment and some brain cells. Now, speaking of the 24-hour sun, you are absolutely correct. The final experiment did not use the 24-hour sun to prove the globe Earth, because they weren't trying to prove the globe Earth. They used the 24-hour sun to disprove the flat Earth, because of a little inconvenient thing called modus tollens. Given P, the Earth is flat. Q, the sun must set in Antarctica. The sun does not set in Antarctica, therefore the Earth is not flat. You need to come up with a new conspiracy, Dubay. Maybe Bigfoot. I hear he is available.
The motion of a light in the sky overhead cannot possibly prove the shape of the ground underfoot. The Flat Earth community has long had models that explain a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, including Lady Blunt and Albert Smith's model in their 19th century book, Zetetic Astronomy. More recently, Joseph Hanvey has also done excellent work constructing a demonstration using lights projected off a dome firmament, showing exactly how an Antarctic 24-hour sun works on flat Earth.
Well, Eric, unfortunately, the sky can give us clues to the shape of the Earth, and more importantly, it can rule out certain shapes, like the flat Earth can be ruled out by a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Now, as far as your zetetic astronomy, I read the sections that you put up. They don't say anything about a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Now, Eric, I will have a look at Joseph Hanvey's model of the flat Earth and the dome and his little two-way mirror, which represents some sort of a unknown superfluid that he is proposing as the mechanism of his 24-hour Antarctic sun. But I'm not going to address it now because I just don't know enough about it. I will look into it just for you. But I did look into the 200 proofs video, and at about timestamp 30 minutes or so, your proof number 50 specifies that on a globe, the length of the day in Antarctica should be the same as the length of the day in the Arctic region. We do have 24-hour sunlight in the Arctic regions. Therefore, if the Earth was a globe, we would have 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Guess what? We went and checked. We do. But then again, you also go on to say that on a globe, the equatorial regions, like the Sierra Desert, would be only about 4,000 miles closer to the 93 million mile sun than the Arctic, and you wonder as to why the climate would be so different. Again, given it's only about a 4,000 mile difference, which is just a couple of hundredths of a percent. Well, the answer to that is a 300 level answer, and you have a 100 level mind. Perhaps a course in a local community college may help you with that a little bit, because you don't take into account the angle that the sun hits the Earth at the poles and at the equator.
Due to the vastness of our realm and the nature of the projection, very rarely would anyone anywhere on Earth be able to see both the actual and apparent sun, but it has been captured on film several times. These videos, which are easily explainable in the domed flat Earth model, have no explanation in the heliocentric globe model.
Oh, Eric, my boy, how many times do we have to explain to you the concept of lens flare and internal reflections in a telescopic lens? There are no multiple suns. I have a solar telescope. If there were multiple suns, I would have seen them by now. So would thousands of other people that have the same solar telescope I do. So I really don't think that this is worth any more effort.
Since we cannot see the entire expanse of the planetarium sky above us, our eyes create an apparent sky dome, as shown here.
You know what else is shown there, Eric? Night. You see night, and for some reason, that night seems to stop before it gets to the ice wall. You don't have any explanation for that. So until you can come up with an explanation for how light skips night when the sun is on the other side of the Earth, and why it doesn't come up around the bottom of the Antarctic regions, as we say it does, quite frankly, again, this is just an ad hoc fallacy. You're trying to make crap up that you have no basis for to explain something that is easily explained on the globe. It just doesn't work that way, son. Well, I think in closing, I'm just going to say that Eric Dubay, that was a swing and a miss. You did not debunk the final experiment. As a matter of fact, the final experiment not only rules out the flat Earth, you have no idea what you're even talking about. So this is Bob the Science Guy signing out. Make sure you give me a like and a subscribe, maybe a follow if you want to contribute to the Telescope Fund. Well, there's a link right in the description. So until next time, see you soon.